Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Perspectives. I'm Tara.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Leslie. I'm joining the ladies today, but I am traveling, so I will jump in where I can.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for joining us today for a hopefully fun and honest conversation. I think we're going to call today's episode something like The Things My Mama Never Told Me, because we are exposing the surprising and often unexpected changes that come with getting older. Hopefully, we'll be chatting a little bit about everything from those pesky gray hairs to unexpected emotional shifts, new health concerns, et cetera, et cetera. And we are not holding back. Well, I don't know. I might hold back a little. Parents, be warned, there may be some content that may lead your younglings to have further questions. Just saying.
Wow.
We'll be sharing our own personal, sometimes embarrassing experiences with a healthy dose of humor and probably a lot of vulnerability. We want to keep it lighthearted, but also real, because these changes can be a bit shocking if you're not prepared for them. So grab a cup of coffee, some tea, or whatever your favorite drink is, and settle in for a candid and hopefully entertaining discussion about the things our mamas and papas never told us about aging. This is Unfiltered Perspectives, where real talk leads to real growth, and every perspective is valued.
And let me add, while you're grabbing your coffee or your tea, if you're of a certain age group, grab your Depends, because I'm sure that this will be a laughing experience. All right, Tara, let's get into it, ladies.
Okay. Kim, why don't you start us out with some questions or what observations?
Sure. Well, maybe it will be helpful as we get started to give people some context, a little sense of our ages. So I am 51.
This is Tara. I am 52.
And this is the senior of the group, Leslie, and I am 55.
All right.
So first question, my first aging question, because aging can be magnificent. What would you say is your biggest discovery with aging?
Well, since we're talking about the magnificence of aging, I would say that my biggest discovery, and I want to keep it positive for this particular, my first, salvo, is that as I have gotten older, I think I have become more comfortable with stepping outside of my comfort zone, just getting outside of my shell. It's not that I have a more I don't care what people think attitude, but I think it's a little bit of that. I've grown into myself, and if I will say it's probably taken me obviously a long time to do that, but I've gotten more comfortable in my skin. And to me, that's surprising because I've always been kind of on a introverted, quiet side. And
yeah, that is a part of aging that I am still hoping to slide into. I would love to say that the older I get, the fewer we're trying to keep it clean, the fewer F's I have to give, because that is what I expect. That is really honestly what I expected. I expected that I would hit an age and then just let it all hang out. And I think about older people that I have known. And one of the things that I really admired about some of my elder women was just the frankness, right? That they just said whatever it is. Well, it seemed to me that they just said whatever it is that they felt like saying in whatever way that they felt like saying it. And I just sort of imagine that I would hit some point, which I don't know, 50, I would hit some point at 50 where I would have 0 F's to give. And I am finding I still got a lot of them. I still have a lot of them. I still care a lot about what the world thinks and says about me. I still care a lot about what people think of me. It still matters to me to be a good person in relationship with others. I made a note to myself yesterday. I was watching a colleague, a female colleague, being recognized. She's me. 10 or 12 years older than I am. Just, the ease and the confidence with which she held her space. And I made a note for myself, journal, confidence, work on this year. So I'm supposed to work on like that kind of ease and confidence, because I feel definitely more confident than I did at 20, but maybe not more than I did at 40.
That's interesting. I want to ask you a question. Is one of those women you're thinking about Nana?
Yes, ma'am. It is Nana.
I knew it. I
It
knew
is Nana who was sitting in that chair and say all kinds of stuff. I still think about stuff that lady said to me.
I just think about how she used to answer the door. Who is it? Who is it? That right there. If that wasn't a clue. But anyway.
Or when she said, tell me this, are you ever going to straighten your hair again?
Yeah.
Or anyway, so that is what I'm thinking about. Like I expected that I would feel more confident as I age. And I definitely I feel my confidence growing, but I'm not where I want to be in that regard. But what would I say has been a discovery with aging? I don't know. I came up with this question, so I should have had a pre-answer. What has been a discovery for me as I have aged? Wow. Okay. So here's a discovery. I actually, my self-impression is still that when I think of myself in the same way that I thought of myself at 25. So I think of my parents as being 50, and then I catch myself and I realize, well, they can't be 50, girl, because you 50.
Tell me about it.
I see. So I still think of myself in that same way that I thought of myself at 25 in some ways. And my body all the time lets me know in so many ways, right? In the arthritis, in the weight gain, which might be metabolism, but who knows? I just don't move the way that I did 25 years ago. I don't have the energy that I did 25 years ago.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Talking about those body changes.
Yeah, because when you guys were talking about discovery, I'm thinking of the physical part, the aging in physical form that Kim is talking about. As far as discovery, the way Kim started off, I guess, and I don't know if this is aging or maturity, but just discovering that it's okay to be 55 and not have done certain things, but it's not too late to still do them.
Yes.
So that's what I'm learning and discovering, and I'm doing those things. But on the physical part of it, how they say, baby, listen, we are talking about, yes, the arthritis and the backache and the sciatica and the losing sleep and the how many trips to the bathroom. You better make your last drink at like 7 p.m. because you're getting up at like, 2 and 3 and 4 times a night on top of the tossing and turning from the body aches. So listen, there are some people that are in my age group that are just fine, but I am not one of those people. And our beautiful Aunt Dorothy reminds me often, Chico Puddin' or Smooch, whichever one she feels like calling me, you got more problems than Aunt Dot. And I'm like, I know, Aunt Dot, you pretty much remind me every time we talk. But it's in love and it's in fun and I get it. But yes, aging is quite a process. So it's not a pretty one all the time. So,
but I have to say, I consider myself extremely lucky that I have not had any issues with sciatica or arthritis or any of those things. However, let me tell you, that whole having to get up, go to the bathroom, 4 o'clock apparently is my time. Well, sometimes it's 3:30, but the issue with me is that once I awaken, I have such a hard time going back to sleep. I'm up for the rest of the day. That's a change. And listen, these other changes, girl, y'all need to buy stock in Tums because I'm about to make you rich. No, seriously, don't buy stock in Tums.
Like,
I stay with him.
I'm sorry.
Stay with the Toms. Absolutely.
Wait,
don't take that as advice.
Is Tums for indigestion?
Tums is for indigestion, heartburn, all that. Listen, I cannot eat. Well, I guess I
Upset
can
stomach,
eat
diarrhea.
like tomatoes, tomato sauce, onions, all of that. I can't eat those things. Well, I can eat them, but I know that
Oh my
at some
God, I thought it
point
was
at
tea.
night, no. It is not just you. It is not just you. And also, can I point out lactose intolerance for some people? That's a big thing. And
OMG.
yes, I mean, not me personally, but I do know of a lot of cases where it's a thing. It's a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Everything you just mentioned is all me. All me.
I haven't developed food intolerances, but like environmental allergies that I never had. All of a sudden, spring comes and I'm like buying stock in Kleenex. I'm not buying stock in Kleenex, but listen, hot tip, maybe you want to.
Also, and I mentioned in the introduction, these pesky gray hairs. Listen, I look fairly young. I do. And when I was young, I'd be like, when I start getting gray, I'm not going to dye my hair because, whatever. Let me tell you, can I just say I do? That
Hey, you
that
do dye
spray.
your hair?
Well, I use like that. Sometimes I use that spray stuff, the root cover thing, just because I look young, and I thought I wouldn't care, but girl, I think I might be a little bit more vain than I thought because I kind of care a little bit now.
Because I have to say, I started graying probably 20 years ago, and I am cultivating this salt and this pepper right now.
No, I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not ready for it. I like the fact that sometimes I get carded still. Just saying, I do. I didn't think I would when I was younger. It used to annoy me. Like, I don't like when people say I'm like young. I don't like people say I'm young. But now that I'm of a certain age, it matters a little bit more to me. And why I know
No, I
sweating
don't
now because
have.
I'm so embarrassed just to admit that. But yeah,
That's funny. Now, I don't have a lot of gray, but I act gray and, they think it's funny, but my gray doesn't bother me.
I have a lot of it, and people who know me, I think will attest. Mine is spectacular.
it is.
It's very artful. It's like a little streak up here in the front, but then it's all through, and you got the little curls working.
It does look good on you. And I'm assuming that once I get over myself a little bit, mine will look good on me. But yeah, in our family or on our mother's side, I think didn't grandpa start going gray fairly early? Like
The
mommy said
story
like
is like 17,
19.
right? Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. So
But I'm trying to
very
think. My
similar.
mom was gray kind of early, right?
Was she? I don't remember.
Yeah. What do we call? Okay, well, what
Did
do we
she
call
color her
early?
hair? Does she color her hair?
My mom?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I don't recall. No,
Really?
I don't think so. Because I loved her gray. She called it silver. Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, what do you consider early?
I remember being in my 30s, and I was like sitting down at the computer or something, and my father was like standing above me, and he looked down and he said something like,
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe my mom
"What is
wasn't that
that?"
early, but
So I think I started in my
when did I start? I don't know. I ain't even gonna try to guess. Yeah, but it doesn't bother me at all. Like Kim, I love your hair.
but I also, y'all know I look young for my age. Even well, so it's not just that, but it
Are you
also
looking for
is, people often believe that I am younger than I am, which often in my work has not been a plus. So I have like really cultivated the maturity. I have cultivated the gray for the maturity that comes with it, because y'all better respect this. I'm
Wow.
here right now.
That's funny. Oh my.
I do want to say that, speaking of embracing these gray hairs with grace, there is a beautiful Bible verse, Proverbs 16:31, while we're talking about this, says, gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Amen.
Shocked you with coming a bit early with that, didn't I?
I know.
You did. I'm like, are we done already?
So scripture. Okay. Okay, so biggest discovery with aging. What has been your biggest challenge with aging?
Can I say first, before somebody else uses it, I want to get mine out.
Wow.
No, because we're all of a similar age, and so I'm assuming we have a lot of similar things.
And we're
But
all women, so let's like
yes,
which is significant, I think.
it
That
is
is very true.
significant for this
It
one
is.
because I got to tell y'all, sometimes,
She clearing her throat. We're probably not ready. Brace
oh,
yourselves.
Stand by
yes, please brace yourself. Please brace. I can't laugh too hard.
Oh, I knew
I
it. I
have to
knew this.
prepare myself to laugh. Sometimes if a sneeze catches me unaware, ah,
Yeah. Oh,
let's just
baby.
say that's not
Oh,
such a great thing.
I thought
it is not an allergy season. That's same along the same thing that you're talking about. Allergy season is not pleasant at all. At all.
And so, mommy, why didn't you warn me about this?
but the thing is, I feel as if this is a thing that I have been prepared for, right? You know those questions, those commercials about the pens and the laughter, and you can't laugh too hard. That's the thing that does not surprise me about aging.
It surprises
Or
me
that
because
surprise-
that's for other people. That's not for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That I thought would come. I thought that came later,
Exactly. I
like
mean,
some years later. I thought I had some time for that, but no. Mm-mm.
Well, so let me tell you my
Here we
biggest
are.
challenge, which again, I know it's a thing. I knew it would be a thing for reasons. I think mine came a little early, but menopause ain't no joke. And these hot flashes, so it's not like it doesn't feel like the tragedy that I grew up thinking it would be, the way that people talked about it. It's more just, I mean, this could be a discovery. It's more the surprise and the inconvenience of it. So I can be standing in front of people and all of a sudden I'm just on fire and I'm sweating and I'm thinking to myself, can they see that I'm sweating? Should I say something? Is it better if I ignore it? and like I did ask somebody, oh yeah, they can tell. They see it, but
well,
nobody ever says, what's wrong with you?
they said I know what's wrong with her. Okay.
I'm trying to think how far back I was out to breakfast, maybe with Aunt Harriet and a friend of hers, and had my first hot flash. Didn't know what the heck was happening. I was coming out of that sweater so fast. But even in that moment, I don't think I knew. But of course, as it continued to happen, I'm like, oh, this is what this is. This is what this is, like out of nowhere. And so, are you going through the fan on, fan off, air on, air off through the night, foot out the bed, pajamas on, pajamas off? Like,
What?
it's a whole situation. Yeah. Oh,
Listen,
you're not there?
my fingers are crossed that I mean, I'm not there yet, and my fingers are crossed because maybe I'll get through that or through that phase without any of that happening. I have all
Oh
like
gosh.
since time immemorial, I always sleep with one foot out. John calls it my probe foot, but that has always been the case. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping
it
that I don't have to
is.
suffer through that.
So just all together with everything that I mentioned with the achy joints and the muscles and the sciatica and the 10 trips to the bathroom and then you're hot and then you're sweating and then you're freezing. Oh, honey,
Because
Mm,
here's the thing.
buckle up.
You're sweating, so you're hot, and then you're sweating. But then
Hmm.
you start to cool off, and now you're damp. And so, so now you're damp and cold.
And you do a whole pajama change in the middle of the night.
oh my God.
I don't do that. I don't have enough time. Don't nobody have no time for that.
Well, or you just, well, never mind. Never
I
mind.
will say though, so I don't know. I have not given in to the whole like the little portable fan that I see people having. Though again, if you have succumbed, I shouldn't even call it succumbed. If you have chosen to carry around your fan accessory, more power to you. I though have become a handkerchief lady.
Oh, so distinguished.
I know, right? I do feel very distinguished. I keep a handkerchief in my desk drawer right here. I keep a handkerchief in my bag.
Girl, you better just invest in some wet ones.
I have handkerchiefs to match my outfits. Yes, ma'am. And last week or 2 weeks ago, when we had that heat wave and everybody was suffering and didn't know what to do, I'm just thinking, oh, welcome to the party. So this is what it's been for me all year.
Oh my God.
Well, I guess your handkerchief is equivalent to my portable fan/heater that sits on my nightstand. Now, in Virginia, I was cold all the time, all the time. People in the house hated me because even in the summer, I'd have the heat on. So it wasn't fair to them. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just get the personal heater from my bedroom. And I remember Anita saying one time I was burning down her she shed, but whatever. But now here I am in Florida and I use a heater. Who uses a heater in Florida? This girl right here.
Wow.
And like I said, I have the fan on. Then I click that button and now the heat's on. And now the ceiling fan is on. And then the air is on. And then the vent is closed. It's a whole situation. It's a whole situation. Yeah. It's not fun. I see nothing glorious about this aging process. I'm sorry. I know we were trying to keep it positive, but I got nothing.
No, there's a lot about this that's not positive. Let's let me say.
Well, apparently, can I just tell you though, they're
Yeah.
calling them hot flushes now. Hot
Okay.
flushes instead of flashes is the new medical terminology.
Why? Because you.
I don't know. I think part of it is a move to have them be taken more seriously. I mean, I take mine pretty seriously.
I got a
Oh,
name
man.
for it. I got a name for it. Yeah.
You know what?
It's not fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I hope I only have to imagine it. Hope I don't go through it.
I can imagine. That must be so hard for you.
And she falls right in between of us. Her age bracket is like right in between the two of us, Kim. So I don't know how it just skipped her.
Yeah, I'll keep on saying it. Skip me. So, when we were talking about the food, I forgot to mention the spicy foods. I mentioned the tomatoes and the onions and all that, but spicy foods. And that's a shame because I love my spicy food. But
yeah, they don't love me.
Also, when I was a teenager, I really didn't have acne, but now I get pimples and stuff now that I didn't used to get before. Is that anybody else?
I was super bothered by my acne as a teenager. In retrospect, I think it probably wasn't as bad as I thought. There's so many things that bothered me as a teenager that now I look back and think, well, that was a waste of time worrying about that. Waste of time and energy, girl.
So we're talking about acne? No, I didn't have that problem.
Well then, yes, that's just me.
Well, you know what though? Not that the world needed to know that. I have severe back acne, actually. Yeah. Shut up. Yeah, I do. I've had it for as long as I can remember. No, she is not doubled up laughing. That's why. Let's see how you laugh when that menopause hits your butt.
No. Speaking, okay, can we just talk about that seriously for a second? So, and I told y'all I'm gonna be exposing myself a little bit here. It might be weird, but I honestly have been so looking forward to that stage. I've been looking forward to that stage because I have been in this other stage since I think I was 10 years old. And I'm just so over it. I'm so over it. Honestly, it's not been an easy process for me. It's not been an easy process for me. And so when I thought, because there are all these symptoms, I guess, or rules for when you know that you're in that stage, like, you miss your cycle like for 12 months. And can I just say, and for you ladies out there who are not quite there yet, I got happy when I go like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, like, yes, it's happening. And then, oh no, have to start that count over again.
You start getting happy, thinking,
yes.
Liberation. And then here comes Flo knocking on that door. Don't nobody want to see you?
Tell me about it. So I have another verse for you guys. It is Psalm 92, verse 14. And it's kind of an encouraging verse where it tells us that they still bear fruit in old age. They are ever full of sap and green. And I think that reminds us that even as we age, we continue to live, vibrant and productive lives. However, when I first read that verse, I thought of men and how, and this is where we might get into like moms, dads, children may have questions, but men can produce sperm throughout their lives. Up until old age, they can father children. Whereas women, we are born with a finite amount of eggs. I think it's in the realm of 1 to 2 million, I think. But those are lost throughout life through various processes, including losing about 1,000 per month once you start menstruating. So whereas men have the ability to continue to produce those life-creating cells, women don't. We lose them as we age. So I just thought that that was an interesting thing that Bible verse made me think of. As you look scandalized, I mentioned that, but it is a part of growing older that there's a difference in what men and women, their bodies. Because I think a lot of the other things that we talked about, all the food sensitivities and just, man, the genders go across genders.
I mean, I feel like we went pretty deep into menopause, but you reminded me that 30 is the new 50. No, 50
What?
is the new 30.
What?
Because you know what else happens with menopause? Brain fog.
The brain fog, the picking up your remote and trying to talk on it and using your phone to change the channel. But anyway, ladies, again, I'm traveling, so this is where I have to say goodbye. You guys continue this discussion.
Well,
So,
enjoy.
bye-bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, Kim, she left us here to continue embarrassing ourselves, or she got off the hook.
Well, she left before the best question of all would have been, dig deep, the biggest gift of aging for you.
In addition to coming, I think, to really becoming more comfortable in my skin with who I am, I have found that as I have gotten older, I have had much more of a desire to foster, to live in a closeness with my family than I did before, meaning not like my husband and my son, but extended family. I've become much more interested in that. And also, I have to say, in developing my relationship with God. And I don't know, maybe that is all part of growing older and thinking more about mortality. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but thinking about mortality, thinking about how rich or enriched my life is when I have family to talk to fall back on, to share, those to share stories with, to remember the past, remember our ancestors, just sharing that connection. So I think that that has been a definite gift. What about you?
See, you went all serious here. I was just going to talk about how I don't seem to get ashy anymore. I should have put in the discovery category because
But I do. I'm still ashy.
I appreciate what you are saying about centering family and relationships and ancestry. I have been saying for the last couple of years, and I have been attributing it a little bit to space, to where I am, like location, this sort of slowing down, moving a little bit more slowly, less frenetic. So I used to live in a pretty urban area and work in a city. And it's like commuting on the train and I used to work in Manhattan. So lots of energy and noise and people. And now I live out in what is considered, I think we're technically considered rural, but it's just a much more slow life. I am outside a lot more. It's less noise. I feel more grounded. I make time for myself to be more grounded. So that could be, I have been attributing it to location and then also to the nature of my work, and probably both of those things, and also maybe aging, right? That I am digging deeper, rooting deeper into relationships. I've been thinking about my plan for the coming year and thinking about really going deeper instead of broader, right? So letting go a lot of things so that I can have more depth with the few things. So a few years ago, probably 5 years ago,
Mhm.
a lot of my work was working with youth, and I transitioned that working with youth to more mentoring of adult colleagues. And even given that, it was a surprise to me at a recent work function, but with colleagues from around the country,
Mhm.
that people were looking to me as a more senior, not an elder, let's be clear, but like a more but a more senior person, right? As much as I joke about people respecting the gray hair and the wisdom and the time and the work and the experience, I am settling more into that, I think. Does that make sense?
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
I think I joked about it before in a pushy, aggressive way, like, how dare you disrespect my authority? I've been doing this for a long time and like really fighting for respect. And now I don't do that. I don't need to do that. And maybe I don't need to do that because people give it to me without me a lot of fighting. But I
Mhm.
also think I don't need to do that because I don't need to clamor for it in the same way that I did 5 or 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I don't feel that same like fire to have people treat me in a way because
I
I
see.
know what I know, right?
Mhm.
I know what my experience is. I know what I offer. I don't actually need people to reflect to, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of what I was saying like before, how I think that with this aging has come a new confidence, for me, a new, I just know myself better and I don't care as much about what other people think of me. I really don't. With that also comes like I used to be, and I probably am to some extent, a people pleaser. I always want to like make people happy, want people to like me, blah, 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 blah. But now I think that I am more comfortable with standing up for myself and what I want, prioritizing myself, prioritizing my time, prioritizing my own happiness. And so I feel more comfortable just saying no to people for things. Yeah. And I live more for the moment and I'm appreciating small things. I'm appreciating the things that I have. I'm appreciating the things that I don't have. Y'all are talking about these aches and pains. Not there yet.
Okay, so are you at a place in your aging where you're starting to think about your mortality?
I alluded to that earlier. I don't think that I'm necessarily thinking about my own mortality, except insofar as I want my relationship to be right with God so that when something does happen, not if, because we're all going, but when something happens, I know that I am going to be going where I want to go. In that sense, I want to make sure that I'm living my life in the right way. But as far as health aspects or things like that. Not really. I worry more about, mommy and daddy and stuff like that because, we're getting older and so are they. I still think of them as pretty, pretty vibrant,
We have been
vital,
very blessed in this regard.
active. Yeah, we've been very blessed and they have been very blessed. And so, but nobody lives forever. And so that is where my thoughts lie when I think about it. And it's not something I think about a lot unless mommy's like, oh, how she does sometimes. Um, but to me, even them, I still think of them as, being, I guess, the age that we are now or younger. That's how I think of them. So I recognize that I'm 52, but honestly, I don't feel 52. I don't. I feel the same as I did 20, 30 years ago.
Mhm.
I
I do.
think I'm still fairly active, like, exercise and, doing all that stuff. Oh, well, when I want to, but I don't think of myself as having slowed down at all. So yeah.
Mm. I don't think about mortality, but I do think about retirement. I do wonder sometimes about my own old age and how will I be cared for and will I know when it's time to stop? Will I stop on my own before people have to give me a talking to?
Give you a talking to well, stop what? You mean
Well,
like
because
working,
I see
driving, what?
all of that, right? I mean, I think of situations where it's time for somebody to stop driving and they really resisted, or I think of, I'm thinking like big world events, but also like small in like my small world of work and colleagues. I witness people who I would like to quit work under my own steam
Mm-hmm.
before I would like to be in control of how that winds down, right? I would like to make wise decisions. Do like leave before you have to go? I would like to leave before I have to go.
Yeah.
Is that like artfully said? I used to joke 10 years ago when I started this work. I used to joke that I'm never going to retire. I'm going to be 90 years old and they're going to have to, sit me down in front of the pulpit and I'm probably going to be senile, but nobody's going to have the heart to tell me and they're just going to let me do my thing and they're going to take turns figuring out who's going to care for me, which was a joke. And now, 10 years later, I think, oh, I can see how that is a really uncomfortable position to
Mm-hmm.
put people in. It is
Yeah.
less funny to me, right? I would like to age gracefully in all of the ways, physically, like mentally, professionally. I still have a lot of aging to do, and I would like to continue to do that in a way that's graceful and wise and responsible.
So do I. Any other tidbits, tips, things that shocked you physically or emotionally, psychologically?
Well, I feel as if this is possibly a whole new topic to delve into. So I have said before, I will say again, I could not have imagined when I was 25 or 15 that this is what my life would be like at 50. And occasionally I will wonder about, forks in the road and wonder if I had done this instead of that, if I had stayed here instead of shifting, I wonder
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what would this life be like if I had made a different decision at these different points. But I also don't think that I have regrets about those decisions. It's not regret, it's just wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I probably do that. Do I do that more and more as I get older? Probably. There's more to wonder about the older I get. But at least at this point, I still feel pretty certain that it is more wonder than
Mm-hmm.
regret.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a whole different topic, but I still think it goes towards aging because you're looking back on what your life has been and how it's placed you where you are today and where it will lead to in the future. And much like mortality, when you think about the end of life, you're thinking back about, the lifespan. So yeah, it's part of aging, of course.
Still, though,
Mhm.
far as I know and hope, a lot more of that to do.
Exactly. I'm trying to think if we've covered a lot. I mean, we have covered a lot. I'm sure we have not covered everything.
So this is real and real fun.
Oh, you know what? I did want to talk about a little bit vision and hearing. I mean, I have not had any problems with my hearing, but vision wise, I at only early 50s, I've had to have like cataract surgery. And usually that happens much later, I think, in life. But yeah, that was surprising to me.
Girl, you had me shook. So these new glasses, I just got my eyes examined a couple months ago because the double cataract surgery, I was like, I'm not putting this up. I am happy to report that my eyes are fine, but I sure did tell him, like my sister's only a year older than me and she had cataract surgery on both eyes.
I sure did.
So I made him make sure he knew he was looking. But no, my eyes are great. And my eyes are fine, but I did make a point of not skipping my eye exam this year. What I also have on my to-do list is get hearing checked.
That's a good thing. Yeah, just thinking about all of the different tests or I guess we call them preventative
Maintenance.
maintenance or evaluations is important to remember to do as you get older. Your eyes, your ears,
Get that
mammograms, colonoscopy
colonoscopy.
once you hit 50 or early if you're at risk. Luckily, I've had
So
all those things done and I'm
can I repeat
fine.
it? I think I talked over you, but I want to repeat again. Mammograms, I think some orgs will say 50. I want to recommend if you are a Black woman, you might want to think about 40.
Mm-hmm.
Black women tend to be diagnosed later for whatever reason. Cancer, breast cancer specifically, and Black women tends to be more virulent. And we also tend to develop it earlier. So I want to recommend definitely don't skip your mammogram And if you're a Black woman, don't wait until you're 50.
Also, other reproductive exams as well. The gynecological exams. Men also should be looking into prostate health as well.
Yes. What else should we be getting checked?
You should be getting yourself checked have your skin checked. Also, I think it's important to know, if you can, your family's health history. It's very important. A lot of times families like to keep certain things hidden or think that they shouldn't discuss it with your kids as they get older or as they're growing up, or they want to, privacy is a big deal, but your children should know what your family's health history is.
You don't know how many times I've had to fill out forms at the doctor's office and they're asking me about very specific things. And I say, I don't know. We never talked about it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. And because this actually is a big topic and I see we're coming up against time, this is our topic for next time.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We really appreciate you joining us for this candid conversation. It's been great, I think, sharing our stories and laughs with you. Remember, the things we share are meant to let you know that you're not alone in this journey. It's kind of embarrassing to talk about, but know that you're not alone. Aging comes with its fair share of surprises, but it's something we all go through together. And if you're not quite there yet, we hope we've given you a glimpse into what you might expect. So when it happens, you're not completely thrown for a loop, right? Aging can be challenging, but can also be a time of growth, wisdom, and yes, even humor. So thank you again for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Be sure to look for a new episode every Thursday morning, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode.
Find us on Facebook and YouTube at Unfiltered Perspectives and on Instagram as Unfiltered Perspectives IG. We love to take listener questions. So if you have a question that you'd like for us to answer, address in the podcast, or a topic that you'd like us to address in the podcast, send them to unfilteredperspectives@outlook.com and let us know if you'd like us to use your name. I am Kimberly.
And I'm Tara. And on behalf of Leslie, who had to leave us early, we thank you for listening.